There was a bookstore on the corner of Saint-Denis and Mont-Royal in Montreal that I went to every 2 or 3 weeks for 20 years. The owner knew my name, she knew what I'd read. When she died in 2024, the store closed and the space became a package locker installation for Amazon deliveries. This is not a metaphor. This is the actual thing that happened to that corner. On transmitting from 2103, Amazon is large. I want to be careful about how I describe its current position because the regulatory interventions of the 2040s and 2050s genuinely constrained some of its worst behaviors. And the company today is a different entity than the company of 2029. But the commercial ecology it destroyed between 2010 and 2035 did not regenerate. The species that were displaced did not come back. Different things grew in their place. The COVID pandemic accelerated a process that was already underway. Online retail penetration in the US was around 16% in early 2020. By late 2020, it had jumped to 22% and stayed elevated. Physical retail, already under pressure, faced a year of closures and found that many customers who had moved online had not returned. The acceleration was estimated to have compressed 5 years of online adoption into 12 months. Amazon's market power was structural. It operated the marketplace on which its competitors sold. It collected data on those sales. It used that data to develop its own competing products. It priced its own products competitively because it could. This was documented. The Wall Street Journal, congressional investigations, European Commission findings all described variations of the same practice. The described practice was the company's business model. The investigations moved at regulatory speed. The business model moved at technology speed. The warehouse workers. I want to talk about them because they were the material reality of the abstraction. By 2026, Amazon employed over 1.5 million people globally, most of them in fulfillment centers operating on productivity metrics that were, by the accounts of workers and journalists and the company's own injury records, among the most demanding in the industry. Injury rates at Amazon warehouses were significantly higher than the industry average. The convenience of 2-day delivery was built on physical labor pushed to the edge of its limit. The third-party seller trap. Amazon required sellers to use its fulfillment service as a condition of appearing prominently in search results. The fees accumulated, referral fees, fulfillment fees, advertising fees. Because organic search visibility had declined and paid placement was effectively necessary, sellers who tried to operate independently found themselves disadvantaged in the algorithm. A business that depended on Amazon could not easily leave Amazon. The platform had become infrastructure for which there was no alternative. The antitrust cases. The FTC filed suit in 2023. The European Commission pursued parallel investigations. State attorneys general joined. These were serious legal actions backed by serious evidence. They moved through courts that had antitrust doctrine developed in an era before platform economics, applying standards developed for physical markets to phenomena those standards were not built to address. Reform of antitrust doctrine, alongside the litigation, took the full decade of the 2030s to produce meaningful results. What did not come back? The specific commercial ecology of a city where retail diversity created employment, created place, created the texture of neighborhood life. The independent bookstore on Saint-Denis is gone. The hardware store that knew what bolts you needed. The record shop where the owner would argue with you about music. These had economic value that the GDP statistics didn't fully capture and that the Amazon price comparison didn't factor in. They also had social value. Communities have more difficulty measuring social value than prices. The market exploited this measurement gap. The local economy recovery that happened in some cities in the 2040s and 2050s was built on the things Amazon couldn't easily replicate: food, experience, craft, community. Farmers markets, repair cafes, local service businesses, artisanal production. The buy local movement had always existed as an ethical choice for people who could afford to make it. In the post-Amazon dominance period, it became something more. A practical economic development strategy in cities that had watched retail monoculture impoverish their neighborhoods. The owner of the bookstore on Saint-Denis was named Helene. She had been selling books in that space since 1997. She knew that she was going to close. The rent had been increasing, the foot traffic declining, the customers who preferred Amazon increasing. She told me in the last year that she felt she was the last person doing something that used to be unremarkable. She was right. It is remarkable now. The unremarkable is always what you miss most.